Welcome to the Hey Docs podcast with your host, Jill Allen. Today, we're diving into the ever-changing world of online marketing and AI in the ortho industry. We're excited to have a special guest from Kaleidoscope with us, Mary Kay Miller. From the latest in Invisalign's impact on digital marketing to navigating Google AI issues, we'll explore how practices can stay compliant and avoid common pitfalls. Get ready for a fascinating conversation filled with actionable advice to protect and enhance your practice's online presence. Let's dive in. Mary Kay, I am so excited to have you back on Hey Docs.
You know that. You're one of my favorite people.
Likewise. So in the event that somebody has not listened to one of our previous podcasts together, would you mind just once again telling us who you are and what you are doing for the ortho industry with your business Kaleidoscope?
Internet marketing consultant and CEO and owner of Kaleidoscope, which is a digital marketing company in the orthodontic industry that delivers products and services to allow practices to attract new patients online. I'm actually the oldest private in the industry. I established myself in 2008. And my claim to fame is I'm a specialist in SEO, and I love to work with startup and transitioning practices to make sure that their foundation is set up perfectly, everything's good, so that move forward with their careers, they don't have to worry about whether or not their internet is working correctly for them or not. We do it right the first time, and we put them on the right track.
Yes. And I love that. And, why I always love working with you guys, because I know that when I send, clients your way, I know that they are taken care of and I have nothing to worry about.
I love to hear that. That's a great compliment coming from you.
Today, I want to talk about a hot topic. I knew you would be the one to dive into the deep end with me on this one. I want to start off by talking a little bit about what we are hearing. I'll call it the rumor mill. It has to do with Invisalign. And that's a hot word, a hot topic, and what is happening right now with Align and how it is affecting our website and our online marketing with our practices.
It is a hot topic, and it amazes me the number of doctors, because myself and my team, we standard now when we meet with doctors to review their products and services or whatever it is that we're speaking to them about. We ask them, are you an Invisalign provider? And they'll ask yes or no. I'll just say we are asking all clients based on the lawsuit in May of 2024 that was significant in the industry. I would say 50% still aren't aware of what's going on. My concern with all of this is we as a web provider have no idea what products and services they're actually offering. And there's many practices out there that are no longer offering Invisalign products to their patients, and it's listed all over the website, or they're offering multiple products. Based on this Dischinger lawsuit that happened in May based on trademark infringement, and because it's the first time that a private practice has been sued by Align, I feel it's important that everyone get straight from someone who is up to date on what's going on with this, what actually happened and what the recommendations are if you offer one clear aligner product or you're an Invisalign provider, you're clean and green. But there are legal ramifications, and we have web companies. I feel that it's important that we provide you with the correct information whenever we can. However, we're at a disadvantage because we don't always know what products and services you're offering.
Yeah, I cannot wait to dive into this. This is definitely a touchy subject. I'm sure a lot of people are leaning in on this one to hear what you're going to have to say. I think it's tough because I look at it and I say, Align did a really great job at making Invisalign a household name. Kleenex for tissue, right? They have done such a good job at educating the general population that if I want to align my teeth with liners, The word I use is Invisalign. The disconnect that has happened is we have taken that brand name and maybe forgotten or didn't realize the impact of the trademark that comes with using that name and how that can affect us with our websites, with our branding, with our marketing. And so that leads me into, I know you have had a client that actually has received a cease and desist letter. And I want you to talk about this in what does that mean for us? We can't just throw around the word Invisalign wherever we want and think that we definitely see 2024, there is going to be an impact on that. So I'm wondering if you can talk about that and what that means from a trademarked standpoint in our digital.
So what actually happened is we had a client who 6 weeks after this lawsuit went out, received a letter from Align Legal stating that they were no longer meeting the guidelines for licensing. And what I'd like to do is read some of what is in this letter, because I've been in business for many years, and throughout the years, I would receive myself as a web company notices from Align saying this client does not offer Invisalign, please remove it from the website. And that's what I notify the client, say we got to remove it. Normally the client will say somebody down the street reported me. We go in and we take the keywords out, the page out. But there were no specific instructions other than they are not allowed to use the trademark Align. What's different with this one is the detail that it went into in the letter to specifically state exactly what needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And through the years, what would happen as an SEO specialist, even though Invisalign wasn't on the content on the written page, under the hood of the site, there were things that can be done. But this letter specifically lists that you can't do that. One of the things they actually stated was Align makes significant investing in promoting well-known Invisalign brand, boosting consumer recognition and visibility for the authorized Invisalign providers, helping you to set yourself apart as a provider of a top-notch cutting-edge treatment. Your use of Invisalign brand assets, such as your website, social media accounts, created the appearance that you are a provider of Invisalign products. So this particular client had been a top Invisalign provider and had not ordered a product in 2 years. According to our records, you have not ordered any products in the past 12 months or longer. Align permits only active Align customers who have ordered a new Invisalign treatment within the calendar quarter to use the Invisalign brand assets. If you are a licensed Invisalign provider, it's mandatory that you order one product per quarter. Now, many clients are asking me now, how many, depending upon what their level is. Now, one per quarter is the bronze level.
Mm-hmm.
I redirect all my clients to talk to their Invisalign rep and ask specifically how many aligners do I need to order per quarter to meet my requirements. If you have more than one location, does that change it? If there's more than one doctor, does that change it? I do suggest you ask your Invisalign provider.
Yes.
But you have to understand that you have to be ordering a new product per quarter. Now, I had one client that says, but I took in a transfer. I go, transfer doesn't count. That's not a new product. There's all in the minds of many practitioners, they're thinking this will work or this or that will work. But to make sure it's working, I suggest you ask the powers that be, especially since AI is out there. And I'm sure Invisalign, with their deep pockets, has AI scrubbing and cross-checking and looking for these practices. Obviously, this one particular practice, they must have had a list all ready to go, and it was one of them on this list, and I'm sure it's not the only one. Now, as the letter continues, it says, we are writing to request that you discontinue using Invisalign brand assets in promoting your dental practice and stop making any representations that you offer Invisalign products to your patients. This includes advertising or marketing of your practice. There is no change in your ability to prescribe the product or continue supporting patients who are in treatment. Your account is not affected, but you still cannot use the brand asset. The following examples they gave specifically stated what you need to edit, remove, or stop distributing. It includes your websites, your social media accounts, such as Facebook, Instagram, any of them. Make marketing materials or collateral displayed in the office or provided to patients, so all your printed marketing materials. Internet ads, including URLs, business descriptions in internet search engines. Now that means that under the hood of any website, about 40% of that website's a design. The other 60% is what's built under the hood of that website. Yeah. And a good SEO provider that's using an Invisalign keyword, this meant that we had to go in and totally scrub this site. And it took over 10 hours to do this. We had to change all the meta tags, the alt tags, review all the written content to make sure the keywords were there, change everything that was listed for Invisalign to clear aligners. We had to change all the interior links, all the schema. There was a lot involved in doing this. Many of the doctors are calling up saying, I got to take it off. And I'm saying, we're going to review your site and we'll give you a quote on the amount of time and the fee that it's going to incur for us to do this. And I said, no, this is not just a little easy thing to remove. Your entire website, if built correctly with SEO, is totally embedded with this keyword because it is considered the number 2 keyword in orthodontics. Wow. So if AI is going through and scrubbing all this, we have to make sure that we review all of it. The client went through and did all the social media. You also have to review your videos, and they did have video that mentioned Invisalign, so the video had to go down. Your Google business profile area, anything mentioning Invisalign in that area. Your citation sites, your top aggregators, when you do your doctor description, if you say you offer braces and Invisalign, all of that needed to be scrubbed. This is not an easy process. I want to ensure to doctors that you really should take a few minutes to think about, okay, what is it that I'm doing? What do I need to do here? Do I just want to wait until they notify me? I have to take it down, which is an option. We don't really know where they're going with this. So in my idea, if you have no intentions of ever going back to the Invisalign product, like this particular client, under no circumstances were they going back, bite the bullet now and start cleaning it up.
And I think what you have said, you're reading it right from the notice. They're being very clear about this. What I want to say to anybody listening is it's not like we're trying to vilify. I think it's just having a really good understanding of they're serious about trademarking. And now more than ever, it is something that they are paying attention to. As AI continues to come on, it's even easier to get out there and look at websites and see past clients. They know who's worked with them, who hasn't, all of that. But I think it's interesting that we haven't ever had to see a big company come in and swoop in and hold our ground on this and doctors to task in what's happening here.
It's like the old adage, if you poke the bear enough, the bear's going to come back growling. Since that patent expired in 2007 years forward, all these aligner companies are coming out. I'm sure it has had an effect on the number of products that are being delivered now. They're protecting their trademark. They have spent millions of dollars in the past 25 years on this product, and they are the Kleenex of the industry. I know many doctors are resentful, they're angry, but when all is said and done, they promoted their business correctly, they trademarked it. So now I suggest everyone be objective on how they'd like to do it.
Yeah.
If you are offering more than one clear aligner product, there's no reason to remove the Invisalign coating from the website as long as you're very transparent that you are now offering 2 products or 3 products. I have some clients offering 4 aligner products.
Yep.
What we do is we speak to them. We change the navigation so it's saying clear aligners instead of Invisalign, and we add drop-down pages so we can save the Invisalign page with the keyword coding. If you have aligners, whether it be Spark or Angel or ULab, it is not a Kleenex word. Patients don't care whether or not you're using Spark. They care about the orthodontist providing the service and their expertise. Oftentimes we just say, let's have an Invisalign page, let's have a clear aligner page, and all the services you offer on that clear aligner page. Or if you offer only 2 options, then you be transparent and you list Invisalign, and then another page you enlist Spark. What the trademark issue that occurred is it said right on the page, Invisalign, registered trademark, Spark, registered trademark, clear aligners. So it was all in one row, and it looked like Invisalign was a Spark clear aligner product, which was a misuse of the trademark. If you put it on a separate page and you put the trademarks on that and you keep it all separate, you're not breaking any of the trademark laws. So there is a way around it. The biggest issue is if you are not meeting the licensing requirement, it should be removed from the site.
Yeah.
If you are offering more than one product, then let's edit the site, which is a much easier process than stripping it, and get on there what you need to have so that you're compliant and that when AI goes through, there's not really much that can be said negatively about how you're marking those products and services in the office. They know your average number of cases that have been ordered in the past, and they see the drop. They know that you're doing something. So if you've gone from a top 1% and you've dropped down to maybe a bronze or a silver level, they know that you're offering another aligner product, and then they're going to question it.
Mm-hmm. And I love what you're saying here. It isn't all or nothing here. It isn't you do it or you don't do it. And I think doctors, and I have a lot of my docs that work with me, it isn't just choosing the one system. They may be doing some Invisalign, and they may also be dabbling with Spark or Angel, like you said. They may be doing even some of their own aligners within their practice. I think the take-home message with this, and why I wanted to talk about this, is that we have to take it seriously that there is a trademark. They have earned their stripes with their trademarking and standing behind it. We just have to be smart about what we're doing with our websites. If you truly are not going to be an aligned provider, don't use the trademark. Make sure that you can still get good SEO and you can still set up your websites appropriately, but be working with the right people to make sure that they understand that, versus somebody who truly, I see this a lot of people outside of our industry trying to optimize our websites, and they have no clue. They may not even understand, oh, these are just top ranking keywords, and so we're going to throw them into this website, and may not even understand. For some of the doctors, they may not understand what's behind the hood, and they may not even understand that they have a meta tag or something that has a keyword like Invisalign in it, because it's not on the front side of it, but it could be somewhere in the back side.
And the other thing is there's a lot of doctors that are aware of it, and they say, I want it coded under the hood so you can't see it. But what they don't understand is AI can see it. And I'm not going to be liable for this. What I find interesting, when we strip this site, the page for Invisalign did drop in about 2-3 weeks. It dropped to the top of page 2, and it still was above other Invisalign practices. Now, this was a major metro area. Under clear aligners, Google knows that clear aligners are tied to Invisalign. And based on the strength of that website, it did not just totally drop out of existence. But even more interesting is the map did not drop for that keyword. They were in the top 3 in the map for this particular main location that we were optimizing. It did not move. This is very important for everyone to understand. when a patient writes a review, and you can't ask a patient to take a review down because it mentioned the word Invisalign. Line can't ask you to do that. You didn't write it, they did. Google looks for those keywords when they position you in the map. So if someone is mentioning orthodontist or braces or Invisalign in their reviews, it impacts how you're ranking in that map area, which is why I mention to all my clients, if you see people are just hitting 5 stars and not writing everything, stress you'd like them to write 2 or 3 sentences and tell them what keywords you want in there. For many years, they were a top Invisalign provider, and they did their due diligence, and they had hundreds of reviews. That map, which is the Gold Coast where everyone's looking today, still shows for Invisalign. So even though we can't code the website organically, and it's dropped to page 2, people can't see, it's still in the map. So if they're looking for Invisalign, they're still clicking on that practice. And then it talks about all the clear aligners that they offer. In that respect, there is a positive side to all this if you have a vendor that was doing things correctly to begin with.
Yeah, that's great. And I can't help but wonder another 5 years from now if clear aligners is not going to be right up there in our top 10 searchable keywords.
I think it will. When I check Google Trends for top orthodontic keywords, I do see it increasing. Kleenex is always going to be at the top, but that doesn't mean clear aligners can't work. It's way up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited that we got to talk about this because I do think this has been a really hot topic. I think educating anybody that we can about this. Again, we're not trying to villainize Align at all. I think it's more just educate so that we can do the best that we can with our websites and our SEO. So what I want to do is I want to shift gears a little bit and move from Align, and I want to talk about Google AI because we were already talking about AI a little bit. And I would love it if we can talk about the next big thing out there. I feel this is another big buzz thing. And this is this random security verification that is going on. And I'll tell you, even myself, like none of us are immune to this. I've had my business for a long time now. I've had my website up on Google since 2006. I even just recently had to verify my business, which is nutso to me that I've got all of this history, and yet AI came through my website just like it's hitting a lot of other people's. And I had to go through all of the hoops that it took to get it verified. And I think what was interesting for me as a business owner is, number one, I don't think a lot about my Google business page. I should be on it every month and checking it. Do I have the green check on it or a red check? I pay attention to it, but it isn't part of my monthly thing that I think about. I've been doing this for so long. I don't have much to worry about here. I'm wondering if you can talk about this because a touchy thing. I think not everybody realizes what's happening. I guarantee you, for anybody listening, at some point you're going to have to deal with this. It's where we're right now with AI and Google.
If you are running any type of Google ads, Google announced over a year ago, it is mandatory that you will be verified or you cannot run ads. It's part of their security process. Mm-hmm. But what's happened in 2024, and we started seeing it about 6-8 months ago, is they're randomly sending emails through the Google Business Profile area. If anyone calls the office, it is not Google. Google never calls an office. Just to mention that, and anyone says that they're affiliated with Google that called the office, they're a third-party vendor looking to get your business. Google has been sending random emails asking practices to verify the legitimacy of their business, and they will ask for articles of incorporation, a DBA backup, and a driver's license. I had one practice that the verification notice came in, and fortunately the doctor saw it. Many doctors, when I say, doctor, do you have someone randomly at least once a month looking at your emails coming in from the Google Business Profile area, and they look at me, what are you talking about? What email?
Exactly.
And I'm going, oh my God. Do you read your monthly Google Business Profile report? It's one of the most important reports you get. Nah, never seen it. My concern today is when these email verifications come in, they give you a deadline. If you do not submit the information by the deadline, they are taking down maps and your reviews, and you're disappearing. Now, fortunately, this one particular doctor noticed the verification requests, and the response was, it's none of their business, that they're not entitled to my articles of incorporation.
Yeah.
What was sent in was a different piece of information, which confirmed that their x-ray equipment was verified in the state. AI is programmed to recognize an article of incorporation's form on a PDF format. Can't come in on a JPEG. It's got to be on a PDF. It will list exactly how you want this received. And if you deviate from the norm, AI kicks it out. What happened was it disappeared. And then she called us when she disappeared, and she says, it's gone. I've lost 200 reviews. And she said, how are you going to fix this? And of course, we had never seen it before. It's the first time this had been reported to us. All of the employees that were let go by Google were let go for a reason. AI took over their jobs in this particular instance. So what we had to do, and we were very upfront, we've never done this before, we'll see what we can do, let's hope for the best. So what happened was we started going into the forums, and we finally found someone in the forums who said, this isn't right. This is an established practice for over 30 years. Oh. But she had changed her business name in the Google business profile. AI checked state corporate records. She had Smith Orthodontic Associates, and she took associates off, and it didn't match what was licensed in the state, and Google called her on it. It was just a computer spit it out, and it was asking for information. We took it up through the ranks. The person said, I'll get to somebody to see how we can fix this, and came back and go, they won't fix it. They said, so it's gone permanently. Fortunately, with one of the Google Maps updates where they started pulling in doctors' personal listings, this update happened about 7-8 months ago, we were able to take her doctor listing and she has to start from scratch building reviews, and then we changed it to the correct business name. We weren't sure if we opened a brand new listing whether or not they would allow her to verify it. This way, it was an existing listing that we can edit. Another example is we had a practice who had 3 locations and decided to go to, instead of 3 websites, go down to 1 website, merge it all into one just to make their internet easier. My recommendation was to change all the DBAs into one and do it legally with the state, which the doctor did. He followed all the guidelines we gave him, and everything was looking great. We built the site. The maps ranking was not affected. Then the verification letter came in because Google's looking at old records and saw it used to be another name and wanted verification. Doctor saw the email. He immediately shot an email to us and said, is this legitimate or am I being scammed? And we said, no, that one's legitimate. I said, you've got the paperwork. You told me you did. And he says, oh, yeah, I got it right here. So he sent it out because Google had already taken his map down. Usually they give him a time period. In this instance, they didn't even give him a time period. They took it down, and then he had to provide the information to get it back up. They had it back up in 48 hours. He's all happy and says, thank you very much. Everything's all good. And then a week later, emailing back, he says, I lost my rank on the maps. I'm buried down below. What do I do now? He went from page 1. Now he's on page 2. Our only recommendation now is let's just get a bunch of reviews on there and let's sit and wait and see what happens. So he got verified, but they booted him to the bottom of the list. Unfortunately, Google accepts a 10% error rate. You as a business owner have no recourse, and you can't even call anyone. In the event that you are notified, make sure that you have articles of incorporation for your current address, especially if you've moved. We've had some practices, especially startups, where it was on their home address.
Yep.
And then when Google wouldn't verify it because the information wasn't correct, they're upset, and rightfully, but you have to understand everything needs to match. I have doctors who randomly on a website, for example, they'll bring their son in, and all of a sudden they're going to take Smith Orthodontics and call it Smith Orthodontics and Associates, but they never legally changed the name in the state. Well, AI is going to check this.
Yes.
And you need a new DBA. And if you have more than one location, you need a new DBA for each office. Is this a hassle? Yes. But when AI does come along and say, okay, we want your articles of incorporation and we want the DBA for this location, all you have to do is pull it up and present it. You'd be surprised the number of practices where the doctors don't know where the articles of incorporation, they don't know where that is.
Yeah.
I did this 25 years ago.
The reality of it is change is hard. Change in our industry right now with what's going on with Google. This will become normal. This will become our new norm in another 4 years, 5 years. This won't even be something. But I think it's really interesting what you said about it's so important that, and I think especially for existing practices or practices that have been doing this for a while, I can't tell you how many doctors I talk to that they don't even know what email they use to set up their Google business page,
Exactly.
or they don't know where their articles of incorporation are because it was done so long ago. And I think the take-home message to anybody, whether you're a startup, whether you're an existing practice, is this is just a good time to do a checkup. Do you have access to your Google business page? Is it in an email that you are still paying attention to, or was it AOL.com from 15 years ago buried in spam that you're never going to find? I think it's interesting. It's a little bit easier for startups because they're setting it all up. But even your point to so many times we set up business entity before because we have to have all of that done while we're signing our loan paperwork, but we may not even have our practice address yet. And just keeping track of these things. And as wonderful as we all think AI is and technology is, and I do think it's wonderful, there will always be bumps and little issues that arise. I know we've just been talking about some of the suggestions, but anything else that you think doctors should be paying attention to as they're thinking about this?
Startups often go to their friends and peers who may have done a startup in the last year or two. There have been significant changes in that Google business profile verification process that was not in place when their friends did it because of the new security laws. One of them being that you cannot verify that listing ahead of time without your doors ready to open. Google is now asking them to stream a 3-minute video showing that you're signed up, there's furniture in the reception area, supplies in the closet, and you're ready to go, and you have a full website. They will no longer verify with a temporary landing page. We did this for years, but we no longer can. Many of the doctors, they're itchy. They want to start adding reviews. They want to promote their business on the Google business profile area. It can't be done till almost that start opening date.
Yeah.
And even then, once it's verified, then it's going to take time for Google to look at it, process it, and show it in the local area. They want visibility immediately with these new security laws.
Yeah.
And doctors who are buying practices, and there's a transitioning process, many of them don't understand. You have to rebrand that practice on the internet, or Google gets confused if you have two separate business names with the same address and phone number. Google requires a separate phone number for every location. Those practices that are using one phone number as a collection area for all 3 locations, it will negatively affect your ranking in 2 out of those 3 locations. Now, there is a way to work around this. It's part of your foundation setup, so you still can use only one phone number if that's what you want with your phone system. But you have to understand there's going to be a separate Google setup. And if you miss this piece, you're going, well, why aren't I ranking? What's going on here? I got all these reviews. I'm doing what I'm supposed to. My web vendor company, they don't know what they're doing. You need to step back, have it analyzed, figure out what's going on. In today's day and age, Google doesn't care.
Yeah.
Follow their guidelines or you lose.
Google doesn't care. They don't care. And I think it's not fair. It doesn't seem right. They don't care. You just have to play by the rules. And I tell my startup docs that all the time. They're going to ask you to provide some stuff where you're going to be like, this doesn't seem right. Like I shouldn't have to show them my driver's license or articles of incorporation. But whether you want to or not, if you want to show up, it's just what we have to do. And once we get past it, we're fine. But it does feel a little cringy and it does feel a little.
And I'm sure Google feels that it's invasive too, but they were ordered to do this. Since the 2016 election, the security laws were changed because Google allowed anyone to verify a business and start running ads and offering fake news.
Yeah.
They were pulled before Congress and their hands were slapped along with Facebook.
Yeah.
So they are following what they were ordered to do. Unfortunately, this is what happens with all of this. And they're verifying.
Yeah.
They don't have to do it like they were before with the live person. They're just shooting AI through there, taking a snapshot. I've had practices have problems because they were told to send it in a PDF and they send it in a JPEG instead, and it was denied. That AI needs it in a particular format. That's what it's programmed to do.
This is our new norm, and we too shall get past this. Before long, it won't even be something we're talking about.
Something else will be annoying us.
Yeah, that is the truth.
As a web vendor, I never know when I wake up the next morning what's going to happen.
Exactly. Mary Kay, this has been a treat, like it always is. Every time I know we're going to talk, it's like drinking from a fire hydrant. You always have such good information. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, if they want to learn more about Kaleidoscope, maybe they want to talk about what they need to do with their website if they're no longer an Invisalign provider, what's the best way they can do that?
They can Google Kaleidoscope or go to our website, which is thekaleidoscope.com, fill out a contact form or contact information is there. Or you can email me directly at mk.miller@thekaleidoscope.com, and I'll be happy to answer all your questions.
You guys always